don't want the Ducks turning to legends. I came from nothing, I had to work with it. I ain't have a whole lot, I had to work with it. I invest everything, come from the dirt with it. To be honest, I don't even know what I'm worth, niggas. And I get high to balance my lows. Got problems I ain't had before.
Welcome to High Style Sundays. Y'all know what's going on. We down here at the Dream Factory, the exclusive lounge and studios. We got LaBoca on deck. My man, WildChildDNA is in the building. Man, what's going on? Appreciate you pulling up on me.
Appreciate y'all having me. Just cooling, man. Cooling.
Okay.
Word.
So now, for everybody that doesn't, know what you're about and what you do, let us know.
What I do, I'm a jack of many trades. I do pretty much everything. I'm a DJ full time. I've been DJing for about 29 years now. I do artist management. I do marketing. I do promotions. I did the mixtape game heavy for about 20 years. Um, Anything that has to do with music, except for rap, I don't rap. Other than that, though, production, a little bit of everything. I'm involved in. I got my hands in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're born and raised in Baltimore?
I was actually born in Washington, D.C. I was raised between Baltimore, D.C., and then I traveled between um, California, Jersey. I've been a little bit around, but for the most part of my life, Emerson Avenue, through half of my elementary school, then Woodlawn and the Owens Mills area in Maryland.
Okay.
And then I went to Morgan State after that.
Okay.
And between that, I was here and there. So like, I was in California for 2 years. I was in Jersey during the summers. I was in DC in my younger life. So over there everywhere.
So what was that like childhood like?
Um, I was a kid, so I had fun. You did regular stuff. Stealing from stores. uh, Growing up in the hood with Emerson Avenue side, and dealing with the regular street shit, and you know, uh, fights in school. Regular stuff. Basketball court had to be in by a certain time because at late night they shooting at the court, or they shooting people getting killed in front of my grandmother's house, wild shit like that. But it was it was a whirlwind though, because like I said, I moved a lot. I was in elementary school, I guess, on Emerson Avenue for about 2 or 3 years. Then moved out to Woodlawn, um, the elementary school out there. Then went to middle school out there. Then got to high school out there my first year. Got into some legal situations. Ended up in Owens Mills. Finished up high school out there in Owens Mills, and then went to college, trying to go out of state. Ended up going to Morgan State. My mother had went to Morgan State. My older brother went to Morgan State, so it was like like a family thing in a sense. And that's around the time I started DJing. Once I got to Morgan State,
Okay.
and it's everything else kind of blasted off from there.
Okay. Now I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to explain WildChildDNA. That's a different name. Explain that name to us.
Well, WildChildDNA came from so when I was coming up, I had a lot of you would experiment when you first start DJing. So it's like I had different DJ names, and none of them were really sticking. And
What was your first name?
I don't even want to talk about it, man. No, my first DJ name was Cupid.
Okay.
QPID. Q-PID. Cupid. And that came from because when I was in high school, they used to call me GQ. Because I used to dress fresh and always had jewelry, and like I've been doing the jewelry thing since middle school, pretty much. So yeah, dressing and everything. So they called me GQ, and then that's around the time when Juice came out. So when Juice came out, ironically, I wasn't DJing then. They just called me GQ because how I dressed, GQ magazine and all that. So when I was trying to, I was trying to drop the GQ, but a lot of people would still call me that. So I said, "I Cupid." Like, and I had all the chicks too back then. So it was corny as hell. But yeah, and then we went to my government name is Nate. So then I said, all right, Eton, ETAN, DJ Eton, Nate Backwards. That shit was whack. That shit lasted about a week. You see, this is the first time a lot of people haven't heard this story. And then yeah, so then my partner Chester Sawyer, who taught me how to DJ pretty much, like kind of like my mentor in the game. Me and him would roll around to all the clubs and everything. He was DJing most of the clubs in the city at the time, and we were just late nights, drunk, talking, making jokes after late nights after the club or whatever, on the way back from the club, or whatever. And I don't even remember how the conversation came up, but I was like, DNA came up. I was like, I'm gonna roll with that DNA because it's DJ Nate Anderson, so it's my actual name. And then I said, but I need something else. And we was wild back then. So I said, shit. I don't know. I don't know if I heard it in a song or something. I don't know, but I just threw the Wild Child on there, and it stuck. I started putting it on mixtapes, and this when mixtapes were on cassettes, and then the mixtape started taking off in New York and even locally here in Baltimore. I was working at a few record stores, and the name just kind of stuck, and I just stuck with it.
Okay. So, what was that like first moment? Because you say you started DJing when you got to college, right?
Yeah.
So, what was
What
that
was it?
first moments like?
What was it like?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I've always been around music since I was young. So it's like, growing up in the house with my mom. My father worked in the music industry, so he would send me all the music and everything. He was VP for Arista Records, Columbia Records. So it was like I would get a lot of stuff first, and then I was also the kid that would take the train to Madonna Mall when I lived in Owens Mills and get the newest hip hop tapes, and or when Afram would come up or different festivals, or I even go to New York and I would get the new mixtapes. But I was the kid that was also bootlegging that shit in high school and selling that shit to the other kids. So I mean that's where I was. But I never knew I was going to be a DJ. I just love music, so it was always a love for music. But once I started Morgan at pre-college, and I got with Chester, and Chester was doing Hammerjacks and all the high school parties in the city, Paradox spots like that. So him and DJ Kenny B, and that's when Booby was heavy in the streets. So I'm pretty much rolling around with Chester, and Chester's like the hottest young up and coming cat. So again, guest spots on V103. So I'm just rolling with him, pretty much carrying the crates.
Okay.
So I'm like just seeing a lifestyle, but this is at a time when Baltimore is 98%, 99% Baltimore club music.
Right.
You go to a club in Baltimore for in that time, that era, it's like you go to Ham Jacks, you're gonna get 30 minutes of hip hop. So I became that hip hop guy. I started doing those 30-minute sets. And I started out like that, and been working at the record store, selling my mixtapes. I started creating the mixtapes. Like I said, I used to get all the stuff before it came out, between my father being um, in the music industry, and then me just having my ear to the ground, like me traveling a lot. I got a lot of stuff, and I had a lot of connections, met a lot of people at different record labels when I was young, and I would just get a lot of stuff early, and I said, yo, let's capitalize on it. So I just started making the mixtapes, and then I guess that was pretty much was the moment when I started seeing there was a love for hip hop here, even though I thought Baltimore was just like all club music. It's like, and don't get me wrong, like me and my partners, we listen to hip hop. We listen to the club music, like, all the classic DJ Booby tracks and stuff like that. But it was like that hip hop side that wasn't really being served to the city.
Okay.
So I started doing the hip hop tapes, and then I realized, shit, I can make more money outside of Baltimore doing it than here. So I started figuring out the distribution aspect of it. But that was pretty much the moment. Just yeah, probably I would say 94, 95 when and me and Chester started our company Roundtable and started doing parties and doing our own parties.
Okay. And take us to that, like, because nowadays there's not a lot of mixtapes anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, that diff just stopped
Yeah,
working.
I just heard that yesterday actually.
So like, take us through that like mixtape
Salute to
phase.
KP,
Like,
huh?
take us through that mixtape phase. Like, what was that? to you? What was the impact on that?
The impact,
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. I'm a hustler first, so and don't get me wrong, I love the music more than anything else, but I am a hustler. So like, and let me rewind a little bit. So when I say I'm a hustler, like I worked at when I was in high school, I worked at Burger King, but I knew the whole menu by heart, and I was a cashier. So I would come home with $400 every night before my paycheck because I knew the whole fucking menu.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could say I was a thief then, but I was young. I was young. We don't steal no more. But I think there's statute of limitations. I'm good. But yeah, but I'm a hustler first. Like even before that, I would help old ladies carry their groceries to the car just to make money. So it's always about I love the music and that's fun and all, but how can I make money off of it? And that's why I went the mixtape route because the party route was so flooded, and then there was no end at the time when I started. And then even once I got to college and like we really started getting into it, it's like all right, then it was a whole bunch of cliques. The New York guys got the New York DJs. The DC guys had DC DJs. So we started naturally doing our own parties, and with us doing our own parties, um, and, even the Baltimore City, they had their own thing that they were doing. We were the young guys, so we started doing our own parties. Me and my partner Chester and the rest of the team, and that pretty much just kind of showed us okay, and that kind of showed me the business side of it too. So I don't know. Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's because it's so many different moving parts to it. Um, between doing the parties, the mixtapes, but it all comes back to yeah, I love the music,
Right.
but like, and no disrespect to nobody, it's a billion rappers now, but how many of them are making money?
Exactly.
How you love it, but are you getting paid? Like, and back when I was starting, it was like that underground scene, like in that backpack era. When I'm talking about, the Smith and Wesson, the boot camp era, artifacts, like you had the bad boy artists and the death row and that side, and then you had these underground artists that were, some would say, even doper than the ones that were getting all the money, but they weren't getting to the bag. My thing is like, yeah, I love all this shit. I need to get paid off of this shit. So I had to figure out how the balance is. Like, yo, all right, let me conform a little bit to bring some of this shit, but then bring that shit back over here after I figure out how to make the money off of it. So that's what it come back to. It's like it came back to being a hustler at the end of the day.
Okay. And the DJ aspect.
Yeah.
How did you how were you able to grow that to be where you are
A lot of practice, a lot of disappointments.
now?
Like I said, when I started, there were a lot of DJs, or not even DJs. There were a lot of promoters not giving DJs opportunity because, like I said, it was more of a cliquish thing. So I'm like, and don't get me wrong, every young boy thinks he's nice as hell, and when he ain't. I was one of those guys, and it's funny. I'll never forget my first party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so amped. I got booked for a house party
Okay.
at an apartment. It was the smallest house party ever. It was like fucking like 15, 20 people there. But naturally, all my dudes came through. So I'm sitting there and like when I say I was horrible, I was god awful. I would drop a record, I would stop a record, give you a little jiggy wiggy wiggy, drop the next joint, and the whole time my niggas is just cracking up, making jokes, laughing at me the whole time. I feel like I'm killing it, but I'm really not. So but like that kind of put a battery in my back. I said, all right, I gotta tighten this shit up.
Right.
Um, I went to Morgan State for, I would say, I was on the campus for 2 years, and then I moved into Dutch Village. The 2 years I was on campus, I had my equipment set up in the room. I was in the room playing music more than I was in class, just practicing. If I wasn't there, I'd be at my partner's house, at his mom's house, at her basement, practicing on his shit. Um, I moved to Dutch Village. I had to set up in my kitchen. Like you walk in my kitchen, it was a 1 bedroom townhouse. You walk in the kitchen, big ass glass, old school dining room table. As soon as you walk in, the turntables on it and records all over the place. So so I just started like that, and then I was making mixtapes, and then it's like I kind of had an advantage because I knew I was more hip to the mixtape game than most people were from here. But then someone told me like, all right, why don't you jump into it? So yeah, I mean the DJ thing came with, and then I started doing the mixtape thing, and then it's like, then I realized, oh, this is what happened. I heard a famous DJ from New York. I don't want to say his name. He's good. He's a good dude. I know him, and I heard him at a party, and he came to Morgan State for a party, and it's a big ass show, and I heard it. I was so disappointed, like, yo, this nigga's trash, and you got to understand too. Like I say, even though it was a 30-minute hip hop time in Baltimore, when I go to Hammerjacks and Boobie's on that 30 minutes, Boobie is crushing that 30 minutes of hip hop. Nigga, you had like an hour and a half, and nigga, for you trash for a whole hour and a half. And I said, yeah, we got tight. I got to tighten up because I can't be that guy. So that, I mean, that came. So that's also with the DJ side. It's like, all right, once again, how do I balance? I can do the mixtape shit, but I need to make sure I have the skill also and the talent also. So I worked on that side of it. And then being around great DJs, of course, and you know if you look at the people that influenced me, like Jazzy Jeff is like my DJ guy. So and people have different people that they look up to, but I've always looked up to people like Jeff, and even the local guys that are dope. Um, and I always mention Boo because Booby is so legendary. And even the dude Chester Sawyer that who I think he doesn't get enough praise in the city. But people like him, like who could really scratch, mix, blend. It wasn't just one fast. It wasn't just, oh, you're just a club DJ, you're just a hip hop DJ, you're just a blend DJ, you just scratch. No, these motherfuckers was doing all that shit then, and that's I kind of got into that. Um, so yeah, so then like even Kid Capri, Kid Capri is another god on that DJ shit because the way he rocks the mics at the party while he's running through these records, it's like, oh shit, you got to work on your mic game. So it's like all that those small. I'm a student of the game, and I'm still a fan, and I've always been a fan of the game. But you know, that's kind of what got me heavy on the like really paying attention to the DJ side of it. Now it's like it's more the DJ side, and then it got back to more the business side.
Okay. And now, how would you compare today, like today's DJ scene, to how it was back then? Because it's really different. I've interviewed a lot of, a lot
How
of
would I
DJs.
compare
How
it?
would you compare it? Like, what stands out to you?
What stands out? I'll tell you like this: if a DJ is dope now, they stand out because there's a lot of trash motherfuckers out here. It's a lot of them. And I'm not saying that just because of the type of music, the genres, anything. A good DJ is a good DJ. You play anything.
What makes them a good DJ?
The ironic part is not just DJing,
Okay.
and they think that, or not just playing the hits. Everybody can play. Anybody can play the hits. Most DJs play the hits. Every DJ is going to play the hits, but read the room that you're in. If you in an older room, you don't need to be playing trap music all night. A lot of these DJs don't know how to play nothing but trap music. Or they say they going to do a 90s party or a throwback party, and they're playing the same throwback hits that you hear at every fucking party because that's all they know from the radio. They haven't done any research. So what makes you a great DJ is you have to do. It's like any other occupation, and I'm kind of passionate about the DJ side of it because You gotta do your due diligence. You gotta do your recon. Learn the history. Learn who came before you. Learn why why was Kid Capri who Kid Capri was when he was at his prime. Why was even Funkmaster Flex who does radio. Wow, and that's the thing. I don't care what kind of DJ you are, whether you're radio, club, mixtape, even people like DJ Clue. Why was Clue who Clue was at his prime? You know, SNS, doo wop. The legends on the mixtape side. Um, if you want to go to the Baltimore scene, even baby girl, God bless her soul, K Swift. Why was K Swift who she was when she was at her prime? Like a lot of people try to emulate what they've seen or what they've done, but they don't really embody it because they haven't really done the full research of it. And that's what makes you a dope DJ when you embody it. When you really can actually. I want to feel like I felt in that moment without feel like you're just trying to be somebody else. You're being you.
Gotcha. Okay. And I was saying that. What kind of advice would you give to upcoming DJ?
Well, like I just said, do your research, do your look back on your history, do your recon, skill, practice, 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 practice. Practice makes perfect, and be prepared for anything. Learn every aspect of the game, not just the DJ side. Um, you got a billion DJs that are doper than 90% of the DJs that are doing the biggest parties, but they're not getting any work because they don't know the business side of it. They're not they don't know the marketing side of them for themselves either. You got to brand yourself too. That's the other thing, and you have to be consistent as fuck, and you got to follow through with everything. You always got to follow through. And like if you're doing this, if you're doing this thing this week, and you're doing something totally left field next week, you better have a dope ass bridge for that. Because if not, you just look like you everywhere.
Exactly. And now I want to ask you, like, how is because I've noticed you've traveled around a lot.
Been around the world, and and I'm still moving.
So how's that like helped you? Maybe it's like kept you like level. Maybe that's your piece. How's that helped you throughout your career travel, being able to travel around?
Well, I say like this: being starting on a college scene,
Yeah.
kind of shows you a lot because you're in a city, but you're with a whole bunch of foreigners,
Okay.
and you're a foreigner because you're pretty much from that city in the city. So they're not letting you in either, but you have to learn how to adapt, and with that, you have to learn how to adapt with the music also, which is dope because it's always a learning, it's always a learning experience. Um, when I was in college, my first ever trip overseas, my mom lived in Japan. I went to Japan. Um, this is when I was doing the mixtapes when they were still on cassettes, and I would ship my mom a few of my mixtapes, and she would drop them to the dudes that had the clothing stores, and they was bootlegging my shit. And my mom would call me like, I need more, I need more, I need more. So I'm like, now I'm shipping her like, this is back then. Like I can only, I got 5 tape decks recording all at the same time, the dual joints. So I can only push that pump out with so much. So I'm sending mom 30, 40, 50, 60 mixtapes, and she's like, yeah, they want more, they want more. So I finally went over there to visit, and the guy who ran the store, he was showing me around. He got me a couple gigs. I did like 2 gigs out there. Um, and when I went to meet him at that store, it was a circle of kids screaming my name. Now, mind you, I'm still maybe 2 years, 2.5 years into this. Like, I'm still getting my skill set together. I still suck, in my opinion. I'm over there with one bag of records. This is when we still had vinyl. There was no computers, none of that Serato shit. We just had know what we was doing. So I'm over there, and so that kind of opened my eyes to the world. Like, all right, and then I'm doing these parties, and it's like I'm only doing like 30, 40 minute sets with this one bag, but I'm crushing these sets and they are going crazy. I'm like, damn, I wish they appreciated this back home the way they appreciate it here. And that's what kind of really opened my mind. I came back to Baltimore, started doing, after I finished college. Even while I was in college, I started doing a lot of stuff in DC. I started doing the Ritz, and then my partners was at Howard. So I started doing a lot of college stuff, college parties and Eastern Shore stuff like that. Uh, Howard, a lot of stuff in DC. And then when I finally graduated, I really got into the DC scene even heavier because I just like the sexiness and the sexiness of the scene and the appreciation of the music. So it's like you can play a boot camp record back then, and the chicks still got on sexy clothes and they partying. I love that shit. So I would do that, and then that turned into almost like a career. Like I did DC for like 20 years. Like back and forth up the highway. Still always lived in Baltimore. I was in Randallstown at the time. Uh, Back and forth. So, and then with that, I started traveling. Then Jamaica. Um, and then before that, it was a radio station in Jamaica that was asking for my mixes. So I was sending them mixes. So I was on a radio station in Jamaica for a while, and then so I did Jamaica. I did what else? Bahamas, Dominican Republic. Um, then I did I know some of this stuff's probably out of order. Portugal. But even through all that, like I'm traveling state to state. I'm doing a weekly club every Sunday in Philly. Me and my partner P Cutter, when we was on the mixtape real heavy, we did the Street Wars series, and that took blasted off. So we started doing a Street Wars party in Philly because P is originally from South Jersey, Philly area. So and half our crew is from out there. So I'm driving up and down the highway every Sunday doing a Street Wars Sunday, which is like an MC battle style type joint in Philly every Sunday, and Black Thought is coming through, Miss Jade, Malik B before he passed away, Petey Craig, all these different artists that are killing in the game. And I'm like, damn, we don't have that at home. So, and it showed me the different preaching, and it's a full house also. And so I'm doing that shit. I'm doing DC. We doing All Star in LA. Um, we get me and Cut again booked for Kansas City. Like we just flying all over the world, and that kind of opened my eyes. Like, and then not to mention Miami, doing Miami every Memorial Day, every Labor Day. It was like a regular thing. It started off with us just going out there to party, but we murdered the marketing game so much the first year. Now we're booked. We were booked every year for like a good 5, 6 years, and we were doing that. And then I got my brother who was in Carolina at the time, do, pushing the CDs for me. He's booking me in Carolina. I got to a conflict sometime because like he want me in South Carolina at Myrtle Beach the same week they want me in Miami. Like one year I even missed my flight, so I got stuck in Myrtle Beach. But I ended up getting 2 more gigs, and the whole time the rest of the squad in Miami. I was mad as hell about that, but because Myrtle Beach and Miami is night and day. but the money is there. So I mean, but like my thing is like all that just opened my eyes to the different walks of life, different it's all music, but we all party the same but different in different states, different areas, different regions. But you gotta know how to play for everybody. You gotta know how to play everything. That's what that taught me. Um, I said I did a festival in Portugal. I did Spain for New Year's one year, a few years back. Um, I mean, list goes on and on, man. Like we've been doing this for a while, and I mean, but to answer the question, yeah, just traveling has opened my mind. And it's like I feel like a lot of DJs here are stuck because of what the surrounding tells you to do. And I'm gonna lie, it frustrates the hell out of me. Even when I'm DJing, people ask me for the same. Like, come on, man. You come into a '90s party and you ask for finesse 2 times. You gotta relax, yo. You gotta relax. It's certain things. It was it's a time when, and even now, if you play reggae at the wrong time in Baltimore, you're gonna lose the whole crowd because DJs in Baltimore don't really play reggae like that. Afro beats now that's popular, y'all want it. They on it now, but we've been on that. I was doing Afro beats damn near what 9, 10 years ago, and it's stuff like that. It's just like it opened my mind to kind of pay attention to what's going on. When EDM got hot, I was heavy on it. When all that pop scene, when Black Eyed Peas was on fire, and LMFAO and Shots, like I was on all that shit, and then not just being on that shit, I was on Music Choice playing that shit, like doing a whole hour set of that shit. So, you know, so I've done, and that's the thing. Like I'm not scared to do anything, but that's because I've traveled, I've seen how people react. Just because you don't like it because you're used to one thing, and that's everything. Like that's another thing. Everybody, I feel like I'm not even going to say in Baltimore City, most cities in America and our culture, everybody's the audience. A lot of these motherfuckers ain't been off their block. They've never been to another city. And the ones that have been to another city is like they went to visit family, came right back. They haven't really been to another city. So you can't understand other things if you're not used to it. But as DJs, it's our job to get people used to things. It's our job to introduce them to new things. And I think DJs need to get back to that. I mean, but that's what traveling has done for me. Is just open my mind and say like, all right, I'm gonna figure out how to get in. I don't know what, but that's the dope thing about the live streaming though, because you can do all that and it's like no judgment. If you don't log off, you don't win. But the people who get it, get it.
Okay. I like that. I like that. And if you could, I know you really touched on this already, but I want to, if you could, be a little bit more specific. And like, what's one thing these DJs now, these young DJs that are getting booked, maybe getting 150 to maybe 300 to perform, so DJ for a couple hours, whatever, or for a whole night for some of them. What business advice could you give them to change their game?
I mean, first thing is know your value. Know your value, and don't get me wrong. I don't knock anybody's hustle, but you have to look at the bigger picture. And like I said, I take this DJ thing very seriously, and I understand like some of us are just doing this just for a quick hustle until we get to the next thing. And so, you see all the DJs popping up left and right. It's a billion female DJs now because the female DJs hot. I just want to prices. It's going to be harder to get back or get up to the next level, or you'll be stuck. You're going to hit that glass ceiling unless you do something phenomenal with your game, meaning marketing, understand the business, everything. Um, the other thing is the DJ community now it's always been pretty tight, but it's even tighter now. I think like I know pretty much I would say 90% of the DJs in the region, and probably I would say probably cool 45 to 50% of DJs in the country. And we talk, we have conversations, set a bar, and not all right. I'm gonna charge 500. Yo, can you do it for 200? I'm talking on like a Friday night primetime night, and you doing that shit $150 on the primetime night. If it don't make sense, like understand what you're doing is you're devaluing the culture as a whole. You're devaluing what everybody else does. So yeah, I mean now if when I say make sense, like all right, if you got a situation where you're making money off of marketing or promotions or tables or some other shit, and they're giving you $200 a week, but it's every week, it's consistency, and you need that consistency. I get that, but outside of that, stop devaluing yourself. Like because you're not just devaluing yourself, you're devaluing the craft, and you're devaluing what we do for a living. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much the main thing. Like I said, I don't care how you get it how you live, but stop fucking it up for everybody else.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And I know you got a lot of events you do, you're here and there all the time. But we could, got anything up and coming that we should look forward to?
I got a lot of stuff going on. One thing I can't really speak on yet. We're going like people keep asking me if I'm getting back into radio. Um, I've been in talks with people where the situation with me now. The situation just gotta be right. I used to own the station 66 Raw, and I'm still actually part owner of it. But I just walked away from that situation. But if I get back to radio, it has to be on my terms, pretty much. So, but I'm in talks with a couple companies about that, bigger platforms. Um, and like I said, I can't really spill the beans yet because I want to make sure shit happens first. I don't want to just be talking about shit. Oh, this nigga be lying. No. My sister Paula Campbell, who I still manage, she has a new single out, Girlfriend 2, available on all streaming platforms. You can find me every Saturday, Sangria Patio Bar. We are going on our 8th year strong. 90s on the patio. And, I mix it up. I play some of the current shit here and there, but it's mainly 90s throwback shit. Stop coming in there and asking me for that two-time shit. You know what I'm saying? It's got a new Tuesday situation I'm doing in Owens Mills, Brews, what's it called? Brews and Barrels. Owens Mills is every Tuesday from 10 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Uh, you might see me at Shark Bar in Waldorf, occasionally on Fridays. I alternate every other Friday there, unless I'm out of town or whatever. Those are the main things. Some big events coming up. Seattle Way, we just crushed that. Be back next year for Seattle Way. Um, and it's too many things on the calendar.
Right, right. Okay. You got any last words, any shout outs?
Nah, shout out to the squad, my roundtable fam, my family. RIP, my baby sis. Just lost my sister last week. LJ, love you forever. Um, yeah, just get to the bag and keep it real and keep this hip hop shit alive, man.
Yes, sir, man. I really, really appreciate you following up on me.
No doubt.
Man,
Appreciate you having me.
Of course, it wouldn't be right if we didn't have you on the show, honestly. Y'all know what's going on. It's Hostile Sundays, legendary Wild Child DNA in the building. And
Yes, sir.
we have La Boca, Spliffy, Pre-Flight, all the sponsors are here.
Yes, sir.
And once again, I appreciate you. And we're going to have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Y'all keep checking this out.
Oh, WildChildDNA.com. WildChildDNA on
Right
everything social. Follow.
Get that. Go follow him real quick.